Hello, my name's Adriana. This is my project-based learning presentation, Reinventing Project-Based Learning, your field guide to real-world projects in the digital age by me, Adriana Villegas. So going off chapter 3, imagining the possibilities. First is to figure out what's important. Basically, what are the core concepts and processes should students know after studying? More complex and important projects are better suited for project treatment. Projects are a series of decisions. They start with student suggestions, then are outlined as complete learning encounters by teachers. The project approach may include a textbook, but that's usually just for reference. Brief review of the next steps, the big idea, wiki, plan for rigor and digital age skills, digital age literacies, learning dispositions, keeping your students in mind, and essential learning like digital tools and the web. So one, getting your students to figure out what the big idea is of the lesson. Example, getting them to understand what 500 is in a way that will interest them. Using a wiki is a great web tool to add ideas and share with others, teachers, students, even parents. Number 3, to get your students to grow important skills, attitudes, and mindful habits, the rigor learning experience must be given. By doing this, it needs to be created in a way that they will need to remember, understand, analyze, evaluate, and create, which will extend their minds. It will just blossom. Helping students to develop information and media literacy by teaching them how to find, evaluate, and blend information from a few sources or a lot of sources. Your learning disposition or habits of the mind, it's not something that can be taught, just encouraged. Happens more with experience. Projects need to get the students to engage and interact with each other, so it needs to be focused with them in mind. Create it where it'll catch their attention. Using the web for research and digital tools to show your ideas instead of trying to explain or write it down. Collaborate with others by internet. Example, Google Meet. You can hold meetings, share your screen with your ideas. Chapter 4, your strategies for discovery. Review the project if it is created by someone else. You want to make sure it will be effective. Overcome pitfalls. Short on learning outcome. May have a small learning outcome if the activity is too long or too short. Thin thematic units. You want the theme to elevate and connect to the bigger ideas. Technology layered over traditional practice, making sure your digital project doesn't simply replace your research paper. Does it connect the students to sources or help them create and share ideas? Too many steps. Too many steps can lead to limited and foreseeable results. So you don't want something that's predictable. Not enough focus on formative assessment. Assessments need to happen often, so maybe create something with milestones or work that involves checking in for feedback. Assessments that don't feel authentic, make sure the project is authentic, it's real, based off experiences or simulated ones. Designing the great projects. You want your project to be set up where it'll catch the students' interest. They will want to ask questions. Where they will want to ask questions, sorry. Some best projects have similar qualities, such as it's created in a way that will lead to different learning paths. It'll reach past goals to involve others, like parents, friends, family. It's formed in a way where students can learn with and from each other. Designed to capture the students' interest by involving real life or mimicked experiences. And having students work like curious oracles. They're curious about it, so they're going to work on it. Project ideas come from everywhere in every situation, even one that may be a nuisance. Chapter 5, making the assessment meaningful. Authentic assessments. Assessments done throughout the project helps the students learn more than if you leave it to one assessment done at the end. Formative assessments, which happens during the project, helps you to know the student's thinking, allowing you to modify the project if needed. Summative assessments are done at the end to evaluate the quality of the project and to measure the student's learning. That way you know if it's effective. If you know the project is effective and it's not, you can change it up. Oftentimes, teachers use a system called a rubric to grade or use for assessment of the student's learning outcome for summative assessment. Lastly, planning for formative assessment. Set milestones and plan check-ins for brief meetings to make sure the student is meeting those milestones within the project and time frame. That way, if adjustments are needed, they can be done and they can continue with their project. An optional assignment could be self-reflecting assessments. Here they assess themselves and it helps them to review their own strengths and weaknesses. My resource, Boston Krause, 2018, Reinventing Project-Based Learning. I found this quote. Goes well with the picture blossoming. Technology will not replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers can be transformational. George Couros. Thank you.